I wanted to share something that happened to one of my teenagers because it's these things that we do as adults where we feel like our opinions to teenagers should just be heard because we're older. And sometimes with that, when we become, whatever our job is, if it has to do with teenagers, and we feel like we have such a say into their lives, forgetting that they are their own person. So I had a child working. They finished school. I actually finished school early. They were in their senior year at the public school. Had some things happen. I found out they had enough credits to graduate early when you look at what was actually required with the state. But the school had different requirements. Ended up pulling them out, homeschooling them, and then they did graduate a little bit early because they flew through their semester of stuff with me. And they're on a good, this is a smart kid. And they didn't know what they wanted to do, which is fine. I mean, if you think about all of the people when they were, and this child was 17, when you think when they're 17, that know for sure what they want to do. Like, kids have an idea, and they're like, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to go into the trades, I'm going to do this. I don't know, I'm going to do this. They're figuring things out. And even the people that know what they want to do and go to school for that don't necessarily end up doing it. I did that. I mean, my first year of college, I was going to be a writer. That's all I wanted for years, was to be a writer. I sat in my very first class. The instructor was a retired journalist. And I thought, I wouldn't like this. Somebody telling me what to do, deadlines. That part, I heard those words, but that didn't click with me that would be my day to day until he said it. So I digress. My child was working at a restaurant, and a teacher came in that they had that saw that they were smart and promising and all of those things, and gave them the snub, like, oh, you're working here. At that time, this child of mine was also working at a township, a municipal job as the township clerk. And, they were deciding what they wanted to do next. But these words from that teacher that they had, that just cut them. They came home and they were like, and it wasn't even the words. I mean, it was the words, but it was also the facial expression and the tone. Like, working at a restaurant was something beneath people. Like, if people didn't work at restaurants, we couldn't go out to eat. There's nothing wrong with my child working at a restaurant in their teenage years. It doesn't mean that they're throwing their life away and just, that's one of those things. When we see a teenager, when we see a teenager and we see all the potential in them, know that the biggest thing is going to be what makes them happy. And they might not know that. My mom is in her 60s. I won't give away her real age. She's in her 60s, and she has always said, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. She has said that past age 60. Now she has a clearer sense of what she wants to be. She's actually one of our coaches. If you do our one-on-one coaching, you might get her, my mom. But, I mean, up until in her 60s, she didn't know. Because you look at just jobs, and there were things that she was happy doing in her jobs and the people that she worked with, but she never felt this huge calling until later in life when she had the life experience to be able to help people with it. So to walk in and judge any teenager for what they're doing, if they're doing something, come on. I mean, they're out there working, they're holding a job, they're making their own money. These are things to be celebrated. And if they're not there yet, I can tell you, looking down on them and talking down to them is not going to inspire them to do better. Now, there's a reality check in there when we're hyping them up, like, come on, you can do this, you can do this. And sometimes it's a boundary. You will do this if you want to stay in this house. There's other directions. But talking down to somebody is not inspiring. It's not uplifting. It's not, think about how you would feel if you truly didn't know what you wanted to do, or maybe you're there now and you're just doing a job, and somebody that you had admired for a while and that you thought was, an intellectual person came in and looked at you and what you were doing and was like, oh, you're here doing this. I mean, how would you feel? That was just, I'm picking on this one instance, but this happens more often than that. And we do that as parents too. Not always about a job, just about things that don't fit our opinion of what should be happening or our mental image. So this is the time to step back and prioritize what is important here, that this child is healthy, happy, that they're trying at something. They don't have to have it all together. This idea that they have to have it all together when they graduate and know what they want to do is crazy. I mean, there's studies out there that show the number of times an average person changes jobs. This year, I am closing down my appraisal business, real estate appraisals. That's a 20-year-old business. And I'm closing it down because this is where my heart is. I found this, Time 414, helping parents of teenagers after having my own teenagers and them growing up. There's no way I could have predicted this at 18. And before my 20 years as an appraiser, 20 years with that business, I don't think I stayed at any job longer than 2 or 3 years. This is the first time. I mean, I know, like, my age, obviously, I couldn't have been at multiple jobs for decades, but I'm just saying, I didn't stay at any job. I think 2 years was kind of the max. And then I'd go on to the next. I was still figuring it out. And I did go to college because I wanted to, because I wanted the degree. And I changed my mind about the degree while I was going. We went for something safer, went for business administration, my bachelor's, because at that time I didn't know what I wanted to do after deciding I wouldn't like to be a writer as a full-time job. So, there were things about business that interested me. I figured I could use that in a lot of different platforms. But it was for me. I wanted the degree. For years I wanted that degree. So I did that for me. I didn't do it because somebody told me to, and I didn't do it to get my dream job. And I probably could have done, my 20 years as an appraiser without it. I could have done most of my life without it, but I'm proud I did it. I'm happy I did it because it was for me. And that's the kind of thing we need to look at with our teenagers. What's going to make them happy? When one of my kids wanted to join the Marines, and there were problems with that, with an injury, and they went back and forth, and they had given up. They had finally given up. And like that day or the next day, the Marines called them and finally said they would accept them. And they were, what do I do? Like, they had finally made peace with the fact they weren't going. It's like, well, what is it about the Marines that you want? Is it to protect people? Is it to serve? There's other ways to do that. You could look at a job in law enforcement or something like that. Or is it because you want to be a Marine? There's nothing wrong with any of the answers. But your next choices go on that. And their answer was they really wanted to be a Marine. Like, then go for it. Because you can't change your mind in 20 years and join the Marines. There's an age limit. So when we give guidance to teenagers, or, we feel our opinion should be stated, first of all, stop and ask yourself, is this opinion helpful to them? Do I even have enough knowledge to form an opinion just because you see them working somewhere, or maybe not working somewhere, or whatever? I know I'm going back to my child, but this applies in a lot of circumstances. So ask yourself, do I have enough information to form a valid, concrete opinion? And even if you do, is it helpful to share this right now? Is it encouraging? Is it something that needs to be said out loud? Or is it something where you just need to stop and think, this is my opinion, but it doesn't matter. It's their life, and they get to decide. And then maybe if you see a teen somewhere and you thought they'd be doing something completely different, just smile and say hi and say it's great to see you again.